Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and I am here as always with Tyler Bevel.
Hey.
And our producer, Mitchell Bird.
Hello.
And today we're going to revisit the 2024 rookie class as we now have had more time to dig into these guys. A little more context than we did the first time around, obviously, with camp running its course and some preseason results. There's some players that we may feel different about and some players that have maybe solidified our thoughts a little more. Tyler.
Hey.
You pumped for this one?
Yeah.
Some go for the better, some for the worse, maybe?
Yeah, most for the better.
All right. Top 3 list time.
Yeah.
Top 3 ice cream flavors. Kick it off, Ty.
Ice cream flavors.
Don't say any of the ones that I like.
I'm probably gonna. Because those are the good ones, right? I'm going to go with a flavor burst. Take your pick of green apple or blue raspberry.
Guess I'll have to try it.
Gotta get them. They are amazing. It's this syrupy, sugary green apple swirl that's somehow all the way through to it. It's not just on the outside swirl. It's in there.
And they do this with like vanilla?
Yeah. It's like a super soft serve ice cream. Definitely comes out of a machine, but either blue raspberry or green apple are my recommendations.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm going to go with cookies and cream. Any cookies and cream. I
don't care. Yeah. Oreo brand.
Yeah.
Or just,
doesn't have to be. Wide
random
brand.
Grocery store brand.
Whatever you got. Cookies and cream's usually going to be a hit.
Yeah.
But if I'm feeling a little bougie, I get some Ben & Jerry's strawberry cheesecake from a number 3.
All right. Okay. That's a popular one from what I understand.
Yeah.
Stuff's way too expensive.
I know. That's why if I'm feeling bougie, like a lot of times I'm looking at it like, man, I could really smash some Ben & Jerry's right now, but $6 a carton, I just don't know.
Yeah,
it's only going to last 2 minutes.
Well, it's like single serve, really. It's like for one person.
What am I, a child?
How about you, Mitchell?
Well, first of all, this category sounds delightful.
It is a delightful one. Don't ruin it. There's a certain flavor that I'll just... I'll be so mad if you
I'm going to tread carefully.
Mint chocolate chip will come in there and
so
slap you in the mouth.
Christ. That is toothpaste ice cream. It's ridiculous.
Chelsea's kids love it.
Same with Julie loves it.
Yeah. I think it's like the best.
Mint chip.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. Chocolate toothpaste. Get out of here. I don't want Crest.
It was like, well, number 1, mint chocolate chip.
When did Colgate start making ice cream? This is gross, dude. Ugh. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Mint chocolate chip.
No, that's no.
Number 1, I'm going to say is Sunset Ice Cream, which is kind of a local brand.
Yeah.
Peanut Butter Ripple.
Right on.
Their Peanut Butter Ripple is just... I mean, Turkey Hill gets by, but Sunset really knocks it out of the park.
Right on.
Ty kind of took mine, but I don't have to be as bougie as him. Perry's makes a strawberry cheesecake. That's delicious. But I prefer it on a waffle cone. I tell you what, that's one of my spring treats, and it's up there with my favorites.
Waffle cone's awesome. I love waffle cones.
Makes everything better.
Yep, for sure.
Let's see here. Number 3 is just going to be your chocolate chip cookie dough.
Right on. I don't hate that. For me, it's cookies and cream 1. I just think it's the best. Cookies and cream is so awesome. It's the best. Every time I'm standing there like, let's see, what kind am I going to get? I leave with cookies and cream.
Right.
99%. Right behind that, though, is peanut butter cup.
Wow, they got a lot of options here. I'll have the cookies and cream. Pretty much.
Yeah. The Oreo kind is really good, though.
Yeah.
It's awesome. There's another Blue Ribbon makes an awesome one.
I'm kind of an Oreo snob when it comes to the actual cookies. Like the off-brand Oreos just never really do it for me.
No. Oreo's where it's at.
Yeah.
But yeah, two's peanut butter cup. Any kind, really. I prefer if you're going to put massive chunks of peanut butter cup in there,
like
please.
The Moose Tracks are different.
Yeah, that's good stuff too.
Yeah.
Like Panda Paws.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff. And then I like good old-fashioned soft serve chocolate vanilla twist on a cone. Any cone, preferably waffle cone. But yeah, just a plain twist is awesome to me.
Just some basic bitch stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so that's our top 3 list of ice cream. So, Tyler, before we start this,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you a curveball
Oh, man.
real quick. I didn't expect to talk about him today,
Just
but
an outside breaking curve or?
Sure.
Okay.
Any kind of curve you want. It's a curveball. So, didn't expect to bring him up today when I was writing this, but I'm going to bring up J.K. Dobbins right now.
What do you got?
I got something to show you.
Oh, dear.
All right. J.K. Dobbins' rookie year was 2020.
Yep.
134 attempts for 805 yards. 6 yards per attempt.
Yeah.
Average of 6 yards per carry. 2022, because he got hurt in 21 preseason.
Shocker. Want to see my shock face?
Shocker. 2022, he's back. 92 attempts, 520 yards, 5.7 average per carry. He got hurt that year. Yeah. And then 2023, he got hurt in the first game. But I just wanted to make clear.
I've seen these numbers before.
It's a real eye test thing. I've watched him play more than 2 snaps.
Well, in 4 seasons, you're right. He has a whole season's worth of numbers.
Dying on the hill, he is the most talented running back in that locker room today, as of right now. But there's a guy that we're going to talk about here eventually that, boy, I kind of overlooked. All right, so let's start this thing off with quarterbacks as we revisit these rookies. I'll start off with my top, Bo Nix. Not too shabby.
No, Bo's looking good.
He's looking good. 15 for 21 and 125 with a touchdown with a 102 passer rating against Colts. 8 for 9 for 81 yards and a TD to Tim Patrick. Week 2 versus the Packers. He just looked poised and comfy, man. Well under pressure. Did real well under pressure, I thought. Displayed nice off-balance throws. Balls got out quick. There were a few, obviously, not so great throws. Some not necessarily his fault. Some were. But there were also some great throws with great ball placement. Even on a couple of the misses there by the receivers, he looks good. Scrambled well when necessary, which I obviously love. And listen, I liked Bo Nix coming out. It was nice to get a little proof in the pudding. I know it's preseason. We can't really call it that, but it just looked good. And there's something about a quarterback that Sean Payton loves. It's going to intrigue me.
That's going to be the guy that he puts his energy into.
Yeah, for sure. And the hyper efficiency that he showed in college, I think Payton's going to handle this kid in the correct manner. I think he saw what he loved and went after it. There's going to be some obvious growing pains there. That's with all of them. It's to be expected. But my feelings have not changed since he came out after watching.
I think I'm more solidified after seeing that. Him coming out there being confident.
Yeah. It felt good to see that. I'm still thrilled if I can land him
like
in any kind of startup or a rookie draft, whatever.
You nailed it. Quick decision making. That was like one of the biggest things that jumps out when you watch that preseason is he's making a decision and letting it go.
Yep. I'll tell you what, in a super flex rookie draft, there's some guys I'd take over him, or I'd take him over. I think a lot of people would argue with me about pretty hard, but I'm all in on Bo Nix, man.
Yeah, I like Bo.
I just, again, that the whole Sean Payton thing, it's his guy. Like you said, he's going to put a lot of energy into this. I don't want to do any comps or anything like
Bo's
that. Bo's
really going to have to mess up for Sean Payton to walk away from this.
He sure is.
And I just don't think I think he's set up to be, not saying it's going to happen this year, but I think this guy's eventually going to be a quarterback that puts up some decent fantasy numbers.
Yeah, and doesn't he have the most starts in NCAA history?
He started for a long time. I can't answer that question.
I think he came right out as a freshman and right in.
4-year starter.
Yeah. Yep. I think he's playing in SEC and Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to hate, man.
And just like his completion percentage last year was out of this world. I think highest in FBS history.
Yeah. I'm going, obviously there's the JJ McCarthy news, but if that news didn't happen and I had a rookie draft tomorrow, I'm taking him over McCarthy. I'm taking him over Drake May.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
Drake May has showed some promise, not to before we switch it up here. He has. But I just Bo Nix seems more polished. And neither of those guys have a great team around him, so I like Bo Nix to be more successful. The guy, I agree with you that I want more. But Drake May too, in preseason, he showed a couple things, no doubt.
He did. What I like with Bo the most, so far, the little that we've saw is, man, the ball comes out quick. And he's decisive.
Makes a decision.
And the footwork and the mechanics is really good.
It looks polished.
Yeah.
It does. It doesn't
really
look raw. Man.
Yep, for sure. And, I didn't put him on the list here, but opposite when I'm looking at Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
There's a hitch, man. He's getting to the back of his drops, and he hitches back with his back foot. And I noticed it watching, I can't remember his name. He's got a channel on YouTube. He played for the Saints a little bit, I believe. The QB, I'll have to try to remember that and bring that up. But he pointed it out, and then just watching him play, it's like, oh, there it is. Yeah, for sure. So the mechanics thing, like seeing that, how smooth Bo Nix was, like I said, the quick release, the footwork, the decisiveness, it's just awesome to watch, man.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on to JJ McCarthy. Tyler, take it away.
Yeah, obvious one we got to bring up here is because it obviously changes your outlook. JJ McCarthy hurt, not going to play this year.
It sucks.
And unfortunately, from what I was gathering, it was sounding like that Sam Darnold was going to be the week 1 starter even before this injury.
Yep.
Which makes you question some things there.
I argued that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think you might have called that.
I did.
Yeah, I think you were.
I wasn't gonna come out and say it, but yeah, it does seem like Sam Darnold was gonna be the guy, which I think this drops his draft value. That being said, if it starts dropping to a point, this is still a guy that I want to take a shot on.
Oh yeah. I'm
not afraid to let him sit a year on my taxi squad. Like, I look at this drop to my advantage in some leagues where if he falls into that second round territory, like don't overthink it.
We have a 14-man rookie draft coming up this Saturday. Do you think it's possible he falls out of the first?
I doubt it.
Boy, 14, that would be insane.
It would be.
I was just thinking, because I know
I'll tell you right now, he won't make it far in the second round if that happens.
Because I know you got a couple picks early.
Yeah, I do. But no, I feel bad for JJ, but that's my biggest takeaway from this. It's just the injury. I do think drops his value, but I still think there's something that you can capitalize on that. I don't think Minnesota envisions Sam Darnold as a long-term answer. I know he's not that old, but I just think we've seen a lot
sucks,
from Sam
man.
Darnold.
I was excited to see how that worked out.
Because I think if he's healthy, eventually Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy gets an opportunity this season if he's healthy and ready to go. But
sure,
it's not going to be that way. I feel bad for him. Wish him the best of luck on his recovery.
I wish we had more to cover.
Yeah, that's basically what I just wanted to bring up. That with the injury, I think the value drops, and
you might be able to
get
in the
right
bargain.
Spot, capitalize on it, and be patient.
I would. All right, fair enough. That's it for quarterback. Let's move on to some running backs here, and let's start with Blake Corum. Well, first thing I liked is that Les Snead come right out and said, we don't want to run down Kyren Williams.
Right.
Confirming the notion that he's most likely going to be mixed in here and see some work year one. Maybe not a ton, maybe not enough to, as long as Kyron's healthy, not enough to do anything for you fantasy-wise, but enough to get the wheels greased, I think, so to speak. And what I really like here is the more I've thought about it, is just how McVay tends to use his backs. And I think we've touched on this before. It's generally speaking their job when they're healthy. Now they're going to relieve Kyren a little bit this year, but it's still going to be 80% Kyren Williams. Would you agree with that?
I think 80 is a high number, if I'm being honest.
Okay, 70.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit, I think.
So I guess
they want Kyren to be healthy. They want to.
How are you going to score relevant fantasy points with 30% work? I guess is my point. Like the vast majority of the touches go to a guy.
I think you got to be touchdown dependent to a certain extent, but I do a little bit, if I'm a Kyren Williams owner, worry about goal line work.
Okay.
And not saying that Kyren showed, he runs between the tackles fine, but Corum's got a little bit of size on him.
Well, we can touch on that. So let's be honest, Kyren struggled to stay healthy. And running backs they just take a beating. They get mauled, which is essentially why they drafted Corum, to hopefully aid in preventing a Kyren injury.
Yeah.
On top of liking his tape, obviously. But my main point would be, if Kyren does go down and miss some time, Corum's like an immediate plug and play. in my opinion.
Yeah. If you have Williams, you have to find a way to get Corum.
Because opportunity
it's
alone.
Your handcuff right there.
Yeah, for sure. And, I don't think you need to... Do you need to have Kyren Williams to justify taking a lottery ticket flyer here late?
No.
Like if it's just you get towards the end and it's like, man, Kyren owner still hasn't taken Corum.
But and this is obvious. I shouldn't even, because everybody that's listening knows this, but man, obviously your interest goes up if you're sitting there with Kyren Williams on your roster.
You really should.
Take a little bit of a reach even, get that handcuff, get it secured up.
Yeah, I suggest if you take Kyren, you better prioritize Corum.
I do think there's more talent there with Kyren, though. Like, Blake Corum is definitely your typical one-cut runner.
Yep.
And he's good at it. Don't get me wrong, but Kyren Williams definitely, I think, more elusive and more of the all-around back there, but Corum's going to get some work.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's enough time on Corum. He's not coming out as a main cog in the wheel, and we haven't really seen anything. It's just the notion of how McVay does things.
Yep.
And again, let's be honest, Kyren Williams has not been a perfect model of health here.
No.
So I would snag him, dynasty startup, rookie draft, redraft really late, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to Bucky Irving.
Yeah, this Tampa Bay running back situation is just something I've been back and forth on a lot. Bucky Irving, 2,000-yard seasons at Oregon. The production is there. The tape's there. Minnesota before that, he had a good productive year. Not as good as the Oregon years, but got some preseason action from Bucky Irving against the Bengals. He ran 6 times, 28 yards, got a touchdown in. Good hard running. If you look at this from a couple of different things, Rachaad White, we've discussed heavily how the yards per carry weren't there. The efficiency is not really there. That said, Rachaad White is bigger and faster than Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving has a small frame at 195 pounds.
Sure.
But here's my worry if I'm a Rachaad White owner. In that Bengals-Buccaneers preseason game, Bucky Irving gets the ball. He makes a quick decision and heads north and south.
Yep.
And that is one of Rachaad White's biggest issues.
Too much bouncing around.
Bucky Irving did not do that. I'm not saying it's a great game, but there was a couple things that made you sit there and wonder, like, okay, this could be a problem if this kid gets some first and second down work as the season goes on, because there's not the bounce around.
Sure.
And to his credit,
that has killed a lot of running
Bucky
backs.
Irving is coming out of college as his success rate on runs is 60%. His broken tackle percentage is 48.6%, and he led the country in the Pro Football Focus elusive rating with 149.2. This guy can make people miss, and he's running north and south. If I'm a Rachaad White owner, I think after seeing that footage with the Bengals game, I'm more concerned that he's going to eat into Rachaad. You're still trying to go get him too.
Sure, make you more apt to cuff him.
For sure.
Cuff White, yeah.
But I'm definitely more worried about him leaking into the workload. And I've been back and forth on this. I really have watching stuff. But I think he's going to get at least an opportunity. And I think it could be costly for Rachaad White's fantasy numbers.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Braelon Allen. To be clear, I don't have any arguments with you on that. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty down on Rachaad White. Braelon Allen. So, yeah, I stick with what I said. I like this kid. But I hate where he's at. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. 14 attempts for 81 yards across 2 games with his opportunities. An absolute bruiser with one-cut ability, just hammers defenders at the point of attack downfield. Great backup to Breece Hall. I think he is cut and dry, and I think that's actually been noted that the Jets are like, yeah, he's going to be our 2. I'm nabbing Allen in rookie drafts. I just like the talent, man. I'll be patient for his opportunity, whether it be to an injury or he falls somewhere else in a year or 2. I taxi squad this kid all day long and just ride it out.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but boy, does he ever run hard. And that great one-cut ability. He sees the hole, and if it's off to his right, it's a hard cut right, and through that gap he goes, and it looks fantastic. And just where you get him at, it's super cheap lottery ticket. It's like the cheapest lottery ticket you can get at the gas station, man. He's a buck. Yeah. So you throw him on your taxi and go from there. And again, this is another one, like I think I actually want him if I draft Breece Hall. You can probably take him with your last pick right before you take your kicker in like a redraft league, right? Yeah, man, I would like to have a little bit of stock in him. Probably in a redraft situation, if I don't have Breece Hall, I probably won't take Braelon Allen.
No,
I'd rather someone like Corum in that instance,
right?
I think, but boy, if I have him, or if I'm in a startup taxi squads, or even just a rookie draft, and maybe he's there in like the 4th round, like why not? You got an open taxi squad, there you go, put him on there.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on him at all? Or did you get to catch much?
I think it's the situation. You don't like the landing spot because of Breece Hall taking the work, but I think this kid's got some talent there. And Breece Hall, he's had some concerns with injuries and stuff, been nicked up a little bit, but yeah, Dynasty pretty much exclusively is my interest in him, just because if Hall is healthy, I don't think he gets a lot of work. No,
Hall is essentially a 3-down back.
But like you said, where you're paying for him, 4th round.
It costs nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's move on to Marshawn Lloyd. Ty, you're going to take this one, but I have a feeling we're going to agree a lot right here. Like, we agree on most things, but maybe not. Maybe you'll shred me and I'll have to fight back some.
I just think it's a unique draft choice here. We touched on Marshawn Lloyd before. Man, the fumbles are an issue. And you hope that he cleans that up. You hope somebody's working with him to get it cleaned up, because there's also a big playability in a big play and what's becoming a big play offense with the Packers that I don't think A.J. Dillon or Josh Jacobs possessed the excitement that Marshawn Lloyd would possess in that offense. And granted, there isn't a lot. He transferred to USC, and that really showcased his skill set, because before that, it was struggle bus in college football.
Yep.
But last year, getting to play at USC, Caleb Williams, the quarterback, opened up some things for him. He didn't catch a lot of passes, but like
it's there.
Yep. Yeah.
Not a great line.
No.
Not a great line.
In USC, you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Because I expect the Packers line to be pretty decent that he's running behind.
Sure.
But yeah, not a great line in USC. This is a thing where, man, you just have this feeling about Marshawn Lloyd that if he gets an opportunity, he could take it and run with it.
I really think he could. Man.
Josh Jacobs has been on a decline since that big year in 2021.
I think they'll force it.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, I think if he's struggling, I think they'll still keep pushing it, and with Jacobs, but I feel like it might take an injury. I don't know if they're clicking on all cylinders, I guess, though. And it's like, dude, Jacobs just is not getting it done here. Like, do you envision where they're like,
I am going to disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I know that they paid Jacobs some money.
Right.
I also think the Packers, with the push that they made in the playoffs, feel like this is a team that can win now.
They're not going to let it slip over some running back who's underperforming.
Nope. If they got a guy that can be in there and make that offense more explosive, I think they're going to go with it, money aside, because this is
just a concern.
Let's be honest, they kicked Dallas's ass in the playoffs last year. And granted, the joke's on Dallas; they're always first round elimination. Like everybody,
love it.
But still, the Packers came out and played a good game, and they gave the 49ers a hell of a run for their money.
I sure did.
They were a good team last year, and I think that they're looking to build on that. And I don't think they're going to let an aging running back, if he's not performing well, they'll get somebody in there that they feel that can. And I think Marshawn Lloyd's that guy.
And I predict that he's not going to perform well. Jacobs.
He's low on my rankings, and I know even in redraft is not something that I'm going after.
The only thing I can think with Jacobs where maybe I'm missing something is like, is this just what he needed?
Maybe. But like I said, Jacob has been on a decline for 2 years.
With the Raiders, though, and it's
I get it.
I have a hard time. I thought about this today.
But even that big year that he had, I mean, it was a huge workload.
Sure.
It's tough, but Jacobs for me is lower than a lot of people have him.
I guess I'd say if I had to put like actual money on Josh Jacobs, I'd put the money on underperform.
Yeah. I think he's going to underperform his ADP.
And Marshawn Lloyd he's flashy.
You might have to pay a little bit for Marshawn Lloyd. He's been kind of rising through the rookie rankings a little bit. There's some hype there, but
you can find a way to snag him now.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep he's going to fall in a rookie draft. I mean, he'll be there later, but
yeah, I I can see Marshawn Lloyd going into the second round, early third, for sure.
Right. Well, that would be later.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to go in the first. He's not going to go at the beginning of the second. I wouldn't think, unless somebody has Jacobs and they're in win now mode.
If you got a Packers fan, in your dynasty, look out.
Yeah. Right. No kidding. Okay. Cool. That's Marshawn Lloyd. Let's move on to Kimani Vidal. Over 1,600 yards rushing for Troy last year. And his first preseason action in week 2 led to 11 carries for 49 yards. And there were some runs that looked really nice.
Yeah.
Man, he turns it on quick. He really does. I'll be honest here. So I overlooked Vidal when we were going through rookies due to where he played and who he played. It's not great, but I just didn't give an honest enough look. And it happens, I guess, when you're trying to study every single skill player that's been drafted. And some guys just don't get a good enough look. And Vidal is one of them, unfortunately. Man, after digging deeper and watching, I don't care where or who he played. Stop smiling. Stop smiling.
I can't even believe we're talking about this guy with all the work J.K. Dobbins is going to get this year.
Yeah, if he's healthy.
You're right. Well, right. Okay.
I'm not stupid. I still play with my brain. Well, I don't know. I've been called stupid in some very reasonable instances.
Just overlooked him because I was trying to imagine a world where J.K. Dobbins stays healthy all year.
And if he does, Kimani Vidal is not going to get anywhere near the work.
No.
He's not. He's Oh man. All right. Anyway, he's got. I think Vidal has some seriously like real ability. I no longer care where he played or who he played against. After watching a lot of it, I watched a lot of tape on him. It was getting late. What a great situation he's fell into with. Oh, talk about whiffing on a player. I whiffed on this one. This one could hit quicker than we think. And before you start laughing at me, everyone knows my love for Dobbins. You just want to let me get to that, you dick.
I was just shocked. Like, oh, Kimani Vidal. Hell, I didn't even think he was going to get 5 carries this year.
Everyone knows my love for Dobbins, man, but I'm also reasonable about it. And I understand what comes with the Dobbins territory. I do. I just think Dobbins can be really good. And it's like a lot of these guys that have had issues that Dobbins have had do get that 1 year where it's like, oh my God, he made it all the way through. And I just feel like why wouldn't you want him right now with Harbaugh? With the Chargers. Like if you can get him late and don't have to pay anything for him, why not? That being said,
I'm still with you on Dobbins in a redraft, but in Dynasty, Vidal all day.
Win now, you can get Dobbins and draft him and draft Vidal in your rookie draft.
I think you could get Vidal win now because he's going to be the guy.
I'm not leaning on that. I'm not leaning on a rookie in a win now situation in a Dynasty.
I'm not for your third running back or something.
Sure, but you can also get Dobbins for next to absolutely nothing and then draft Kimani Vidal. I would much rather that. And just know, like, okay, either way, I got the better running back because they're both better than Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just, you don't lean on Edwards in a situation without Dobbins. Vidal, to me, seems like a do-it-all back. Low center of gravity, 4.4 40 speed. Real power to go with it, too, man. 5'8", 210 pounds. Actually, he's built very similarly to Dobbins. I think he's got 3-down back ability, and so does he, apparently. He believes he's the best 3-down back in the draft class. That's his words. I don't know. Time will tell. I love the confidence. I don't know, man. This guy and where he's happened to land as far as scheme and bodies in the way, I mean, it screams lottery ticket that could hit, and possibly sooner than
I think it's gonna
later. Yeah. I like that you brought that up though with the Dynasty thing. That's a great. Yeah, I'm in that situation. I have Dobbins and I have Saquon and I have Henry, and I'm sitting there scratching my head. I got a 2nd round early pick, and I'm like, I might pull that trigger.
Yeah.
Vidal will be there at pick 2-6.
Yeah. We did a draft about a month ago in that Dead Duck League, and he fell pretty far. I got him in there pretty far. He fell pretty low, but
I'll get peppered pretty hard by people saying, "Oh, that's a reach. Come on," and it's like, I don't care. Look at my situation. Yeah. Look at my roster situation. I'll take it. Okay, that's Kimani Vidal. Tyler, let's move on to Dylan Laube.
Dylan Laube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we love Zamir White.
Sure.
I think Zamir White's going to do good things.
Yep.
I think there is a real chance for Dylan Laube to do something here as a pass catching back.
I kind of feel that way too.
As good as Zamir White was,
possible.
The guy didn't even catch, he hasn't caught 20 passes in a 4-year career.
Sure.
So, I mean, and not saying that he can't, that he doesn't have that ability, but it just hasn't been showed. I think there's a good chance that Dylan Laube gets in here, gets some of the third down work, some of the 2-minute drill work, and can carve out a little role for himself in this offense. Again, still think it's going to be an offense that's going to struggle. Gardner Minshew was announced the week 1 starter. Dump off machine.
Yep.
I think that helps Dylan Laube's case there too.
Are they going to work him out of the backfield, do you think? Or do you think that they might try moving him around?
I could see him going to the slot just because I don't see a lot of competition there, that maybe he gets moved to that role a little bit too in some formations. But I think out of the backfield and the third down and 2-minute drill packages. But
maybe want him to do what Hunter Renfrow couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, he's kid's elusive. Yeah, I think he's going to be worked out of the backfield more than, but it would not surprise me at all to see him working out of the slot or something in certain packages.
I just don't know.
And maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe Zamir White is the pass catching back, but I mean, I think Zamir White's the lead guy. I think he's the guy that you want, but.
So in redraft, I have zero interest. I assume same for you. This is more of a dynasty.
This is a dynasty stash. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a taxi guy for me. I mean, if I'm sitting there and it's the 4th round and I'm looking at guys and I'm like, I don't know, I'd throw him on my taxi squad. Just as you look at his body of work, and it's the same thing you look at with Kimani Vidal, where he played, who he played against, same kind of idea. But there's certain things you cannot ignore, man. He does things that just made me go, oh my good God, this kid is something else. But then it's oh yeah, it's New Hampshire, and I don't know who any of these schools are that he's even playing. It makes it tough. It makes it really hard, man. But these guys hit.
You don't know what you're getting out of these small school kids sometimes. I will say that. But I mean, the production was there. 2022, 1,200 rushing yards, 405 receiving yards, and 17 touchdowns.
It's insane.
And then now in 23, the production drops down on the rushing end. He has 750 rushing yards, but he scored 16 touchdowns. And he caught 68 receptions for 699 yards. I just think this guy can carve a role on this team. Zamir White's still the lead back. And I don't even know, I'm just talking about this year for numbers, and I don't even know if I'm thinking flex. Right. But especially if you have Zamir White, or if you're just looking for another running back to stash in your team, get to that 4th round, Dylan Laube is a guy that I think you could take a good hard look at, and you could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you start looking around. You're in the 4th round of the rookie draft, and you're like, it's just question marks galore.
Yeah,
why not take a stab at this question mark? Who's got absurd stats from college?
And like you said, New Hampshire, it's tough to tell with these small schools, but there's definitely diamonds in the rough out there.
Agreed. All right, that's it for running backs. Let's move on to wide receiver, and I'm going to start off with Xavier Worthy. A lot of people are probably like, what? You don't just assume he's going to be awesome?
Wow, there's a lot of the videos of him getting smashed around out there right now. Yeah. Don't buy into that too much.
No. So my thing is, initially, I wasn't in love with Worthy. I was an odd man out. I was an odd man out. 172 pounds concerned me a lot, and sometimes I still struggle with the size thing, when I first see it. And I know I shouldn't. And I've even argued that against myself. I've made that argument to other people. Don't worry so much about size. Well, I don't know. It bugged me. But to a degree, you really shouldn't. I don't know, man. I think Worthy is so talented, and the landing spot is so good. And there's a real path to real honest receiving work right now, immediately. Tied to Pat Mahomes, 1st round pick by Andy Reid. I can't.
Don't overthink it.
No. And I think that's what it was. I wanted to clarify because when we did our rookie show, I'm sure more people are listening now. Probably a lot of people haven't even heard that, but I think I probably made you raise an eyebrow. Like, really? You're not real big on Worthy?
Yeah, we had some back and forth on the Worthy things. I was definitely higher on him coming in.
I just have a feeling this is going to be really good. This is going to be a good thing.
They haven't had speed like this outside of McCole Hardman, who doesn't have the talent that Worthy does.
Agreed.
Since Tyreek Hill.
Agreed.
Hollywood Brown, I think, helps Xavier Worthy.
Sure.
I'm not saying Raji Rice.
And that's another thing. Hollywood Brown's going to miss a few weeks.
Yeah.
So, like, who's going to catch the ball?
The opening's right there for the outside guy.
Yeah, I've got a good feeling about it. I think he's going to give very respectable rookie season numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe like Zay Flowers from his rookie year.
Or go a little higher.
Or maybe higher.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. He's so electric with the ball in space. And what he does to guys one-on-one is just stupid.
And what you said.
I mean, he makes
Pat Mahomes is a quarterback.
Yeah.
Andy Reid's going to get this guy in space.
Yep. Make sure
Don't overthink
get guys who are tied to stud quarterbacks.
Oh, for sure.
It makes a big difference. I mean, but dude, one-on-one, this guy makes people look absolutely foolish.
Ankle buster.
Oh, and great speed for the deep ball. Incredible in the screen game. That's got Andy Reid written all over it. The things he does is right up Reid's alley. I've actually become quite excited about Xavier Worthy, and even at the 172 pounds, the talent and the fit is just it's too good to let size get in the way.
No, and I will say one thing about the Kansas City Chiefs. If we learned this before he won 3 Super Bowls, Andy Reid has a say who gets drafted on that team.
Oh yeah. He sure
Pat
does.
Mahomes might not be there if it's not for Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Andy Reid has a lot of clout in what he says. He wanted this guy, I think. And big year, I think.
Yeah.
Rookie, big year. Other than Marvin Harrison Jr., do you see another rookie that has this much opportunity to put up big numbers?
Right. No.
Keon Coleman, make that argument. Josh Allen, and there's not a lot of other receivers there that are maybe as competent, but it's there.
Yeah, and this is why I like what you just touched on. Andy Reid has basically all the say. I mean, obviously the GM's going to get in there, but Andy Reid has got a ton of pull. You know who else has a ton of pull? Peyton. That's the Bo Nix thing is just like, man, did you know that Sean Payton and Andy Reid were like the only two guys, one of the only two, there was a few, but they were one of the only two really calling for Pat Mahomes. Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Mahomes was kind of looked at as
Mitch Trubisky got drafted over him.
Yeah. So I don't know. You touched on that there, Andy Reid, and it just kind of made me go back and think about like the Bo Nix thing. It matters. I guess my point is it matters, man. When these coaches like that have say, they've had tenure and success, the say that they have to bring in their guys means a lot. And it means a lot for Xavier Worthy.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. Let's move on to Jacob Cowing.
Yep.
Who we kind of trashed.
We did. And listen, this guy is small.
Yeah, he is.
5'8", 165 pounds. We were just talking
smaller
about Xavier
than Worthy.
He's smaller.
Yep.
But
had a flash.
Going back and looking at some tape, man, there's some serious production there and some electricity. At Arizona, the kid had 316 catches for 4,477 yards and 33 touchdowns. 13 of them coming last year. He averaged 9.4 yards per catch, so he's catching a lot of short passes. 4.38 at the combine. And that shows. When you're watching tape of this kid, that shows.
He flies, man. He had a great catch from Dobbs the other night. From Josh Dobbs. That was a great catch.
And listen, it's possible that this kid is a punt returner.
Sure.
And I'm going to be honest about this. It's possible that this kid is a punt returner, and that's the ceiling. I'm going to take a shot on him, though, just because of that speed and that versatility. And again, tying it into the coaches, Kyle Shanahan, finding ways to use his guys. I think the big problem here, Chad, is everybody else around him that's there and the mouths to feed, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Ricky Pearsall coming in as the higher draft capital
if
rookie.
don't go anywhere.
Right.
Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey. Right. I mean,
but again,
Ayuk leaves.
There's an opening there.
There is.
And again, this is a guy you're looking at late in your rookie draft, and if you're just kind of looking around, maybe take a flyer on this guy. If you go back and watch the tape, there's some serious stuff on tape there that I just didn't look at. And he can win downfield. Yeah, I'll take a shot with that offensive production, him being in that system, especially if Ayuk goes. I think that gives a little bit of a boost. I still have obviously a higher value on Pierce All, but
sure. The Ayuk thing is what's keeping it kind of hanging in the balance. Like,
yeah,
that can, keeps you back and forth. But no, I like that you brought him up, man. That catch he made the other night is a catch, but that was a tricky catch. And he made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff. All right. Yeah. We'll see what happens with Ayuk and see if that maybe bumps the stock a little bit and makes him something a little more than just a return guy. However, if you do return yards in your league, it might not be a bad stash.
No.
Because if he is returning on, punt and kick both, I mean, that could be something.
Yeah.
If with the new kick return rules, if your league awards them, and how does your league award it, that's going to matter.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're hoping for like a speedy slot receiver.
And no Ayuk.
For the ceiling, and no Ayuk.
Yeah.
Floor, you're probably looking at like a Jakeem Grant situation, if I'm being totally honest with you.
I like that. That's really good. He is great to have in Madden.
Yeah. He's amazing. Yeah. Putting back there, returning kicks, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That's a great comp. I like that. All right, let's move on to Jermaine Burton. Tyler, I like what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing. 4 catches on 5 targets for 101 yards and a TD so far this preseason. Not too shabby on such limited work. I'm really excited for him going forward. Problem is, it's not the talent with him in question. It's really just like, can you keep a level head, man? That's really what it is. Between transferring to 6 different schools and putting his hands on a female Tennessee fan, I understand, some people may be raising an eye on him, but raising an eyebrow on him, you can't raise your eye. Can you raise your eye? Eyebrow. I'm going to bet on the talent. I mean, I know I say that a lot, but it's not like you're paying a fortune to get him in a rookie draft. I can tell you that.
And you're betting on more than that in your defense. Like Joe Burrow's the quarterback.
Right.
I mean,
I want him in Dynasty, something bad.
He can give we know Joe Burrow can support 3 wide receivers. Tyler Boyd's gone. I think this is an upgraded Tyler Boyd to me.
Oh, yes.
In this situation, that's what this is. Like sure. Burton is an upgraded Tyler Boyd.
He could hit right away. I just don't know like how fantasy relevant he's going to be with Higgins and Chase. And
the other upside is how long do we expect Higgins to be here?
Right. That's
the other thing here where once Higgins is gone and you're the number 2 wide receiver for Joe Burrow, like that's a good guy to have.
Agree. I think this is it for Higgins in Cincinnati.
I do too. And only because I think that guy is a 1 in 80% of the teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. Yeah. I think T. Higgins is a 1 in 80%. Like that guy is.
He should be in Buffalo. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Relative athletic score of 9.09 out of 10. And for those who don't know, the RAS covers height, weight, speed, vertical, and broad jump, and bench. I follow a guy named Matt Harmon. I like his work. And he posted an awesome couple of stats here. 75% success rate versus man coverage and 77.3% success rate against press. Without the question marks on him, I think it's very possible he's considered a first-round receiver. I'm like right after like a Dunes.
Yeah.
I mean, those stats rank him top 3 in the rookie wide receiver class.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He's super talented, man. I'd like to get all the stock I can. And I've whiffed on it in every startup here that we've had. I just keep whiffing on him.
Oh, he looked good on tape the other day, too.
He sure did. No, I'm with you. He's Tyler Boyd's replacement right now. He's going to see time.
Oh, yeah. He'll be on the field this year.
And I truly believe this is it for T. Higgins and Cincy. He wants to go get paid as a number 1 somewhere. And that puts Burton as Joe Burrow's number 2 playing opposite of Jamar Chase. Give me some Jermaine Burton.
Oh, absolutely. I want Jermaine. I don't have him in any yet. I'd love to have him in one.
Right on. All right, that's Jermaine Burton. Let's move on to Ainias Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this kid. I think, and maybe you can combat me on this, Chad. You're an Eagles guy, but I think there's some serious room in the slot for this kid to make some stuff happen.
Well, he's got to be better than Quez Watkins.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. Yeah, I know you, before we got going here, you threw some slot stats at me.
Yeah, here's the Philadelphia Eagles snaps from the slot position last year. Dallas Goedert leads the way with 267. You don't see that changing much. Behind him, Olamide Zaccheaus, Devonta Smith. Olamide Zaccheaus has 233. So that's a big number right there.
Right.
Devonta Smith has 208. And then Quez Watkins with 146. A.J. Brown with 145. And Julio Jones with 92. Even if you just go Olamide Zaccheaus, Quez Watkins, and Julio Jones, you have about 450 snaps from the slot position that are open. That's taking out Dallas Goedert, Devonta Smith, and A.J. Brown.
That's sneaky, Ty.
I think there's a real opportunity for this kid. You're getting him super cheap. Again, Jalen Hurts is a quarterback, high-powered offense. I like this kid.
So what's in his way is a receiver 3? You got Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson.
I like Paris Campbell, but I think that Ainias Smith gets this job.
Yeah, and it's not John Ross, ain't no worry.
No.
Yeah, this could be a sneaky one, man.
I like it.
This really could be sneaky. I think this
kid gets on the field for the Eagles. I think he's primarily a slot guy, but
that's great work.
The talent's there, man. And the opportunity's there. I was shocked reading these slot snaps from Philly last year to see Olamide Zaccheaus had 233 snaps from the slot. Granted, he didn't have a lot of production, but I think Ainias Smith is the better talent here. I like this kid in this situation. Kind of a landing spot that I overlooked because, when you first look at it, you're looking at A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Feels like, one of the best wide receiver 1-2s in the league right now. It seems like, it's kind of top heavy on the wide receiver room. But then you start looking at these numbers and, the opportunities for snaps are going to be there. And I like this kid. Definitely a lot higher on him than I was when we talked about the rookie stuff earlier.
I'm going to give you props on that, man. That's really good homework. I like that a lot. I, even as an Eagles fan, yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by that. And I don't know, is he going to run? I don't know if he's going to run return duties.
That I don't know. He did do some return stuff in college. I don't know.
But if he does, and on top of that, he's getting more slot work than what we
to credit the Eagles, they have about 5 or 6 guys on their roster right now that could be serious returners.
John Ross. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
With the new...
I don't know how that's going to shake out, but...
Yeah, okay. Let's move on to Jaylin McMillian.
Yeah. Another guy that I was a little bit lower on, but I will say one thing. Looking back, watched a lot of Washington tape earlier on in the year. Because obviously Michael Penix, Rome Odunze, Jalen Polk, big names that were drafted fairly high. This kid just kept kind of showing up when I'm kind of not really focusing on him, watching tape on some of the other guys. And he got hurt last year. Knee injury sidelined him. Missed, I don't know how many weeks he missed, but it was 4 or 5 weeks. So when you look at his numbers, you're looking at 331 yards. Not great, but then when you factor in them injuries, and then you start looking at the highlights from the college football playoffs, a lot of big play potential here. I'm hearing reports that Chris Godwin is primarily going back to the slot.
Okay.
Baker likes to throw it downfield.
He does.
He likes to sling it to the sidelines. You feel Mike Evans is getting the double.
Yeah. Maybe there's something there, huh?
Jaylin McMillian, I think, gets an opportunity here. Now, I know there's some other competition.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his name right now. It's evading me. Trey Palmer.
Trey Palmer, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not saying he steals that job.
Right. He had a couple moments.
But I think there's, like I said, when you are watching, especially early in the season last year and in the playoffs, when you're watching Washington tape, even focusing on guys like Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk, Jaylin McMillian keeps jumping out at you.
Yeah.
I think the injury last year, because he missed those weeks and then kind of got phased out where he was kind of like a positional player after that, I don't think that's what he really is. I think he's got more upside than that. I just think the knee injury was unfortunate for him last year. And
sure.
I think there's opportunity in this Washington offense, or in this Tampa Bay offense.
So, in all that, you mentioned Jalen Polk a couple times. Are you starting to worry a little bit that we're wrong on him?
No.
You just think it's just noise coming out of camp. It's just.
I'm going to say no. Maybe we should be a little bit higher on him, but I don't think I've seen anything that tells me I was wrong in my assumption that he's a possession receiver. I don't see, and maybe that works in that Patriots offense better than we're anticipating, where you're just finding them zones and finding them holes in the coverage, and that's going to be super productive in that offense. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what Jalen Polk still is to me, as a possession receiver.
Okay. It's just a thought. I've been reading some things and catching a few little snippets here and there, and just wondered, like, man, I hope I'm not wrong on Jalen Polk, but time will tell, I suppose, right?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to tight end. First guy we have here is Ben Sinnott. So, doing going over all these skill guys, I didn't get as much work into the tight end position as I would have liked to. I've been able to more recently, and man, boy, I think this is another one I might have whiffed on. There is a lot to like here. That guy is just a tank with the ball in his hands, man. Love the size and speed combo. Fights for extra yards. 4 catches for 67 yards so far this preseason, and he had a real nice play against the Jets where he just turned into an absolute bully with the ball. Did you see that play?
Oh, yeah.
Man. He does have a path. As much as I believe, and I think, Tyler, you as well, that Ertz is going to get the nod initially. I think Sinnott might be right on his heels, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's a joke. I'm now pursuing Sinnott pretty aggressively in Dynasty. I want him on my bench or my taxi in a real bad way. In the one league I have Ertz in, and I would love to find a way to get my hands on him. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to now. I intend to get out there and try, buy as much as I can, but I really wish that I had gotten onto this one a lot sooner.
Yeah, and we talk about landing spots religiously for running backs and wide receivers, not so much for tight ends, but this, if you want to bring that up, is maybe, I think this is a better landing spot than Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the quarterback play, and then like we said with Las Vegas before, Michael Mayer is no joke, and he's still there, where, yeah, Zach Ertz is there, but Zach Ertz is 36.
He's up there.
Yeah.
35, 36.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Right up there with Kelsey.
Yeah, and I think Zach Ertz, I honestly feel like Zach Ertz has been pretty accepting of the role of mentor.
Sure.
Like with Trey McBride and stuff, like that seemed to be a smooth transition there where.
Yeah.
And maybe that benefits Ben Sinnott.
Good on Zach Ertz.
Because Zach, is familiar with the offense, and I think he could be helping this kid out. And I think that could actually help Ben Sinnott take off sooner rather than later. Having a guy like Zach Ertz in his corner to.
Ertz is not going to make it all year.
No, but this could be
I hope he does.
You could be looking.
Zach Ertz, but.
And I don't know if the talent is quite at that level, but this could be a Trey McBride situation here.
Sure. That's a great point. Yeah, I'm so mad at myself for not digging into these tight ends a little better.
Well, I'll tell you would have had to reach because in that Dead Ducks Dynasty that we did, I had already drafted Jaden Daniels. Tried to get Luke McCaffrey. He got robbed. Come back later, started looking at Ben Sinnott to get that connection with Jaden Daniels. Didn't happen. So, I mean, he's...
Yeah.
And I was looking at him in that draft. He was an afterthought just because I really like Luke McCaffrey and wanted to have something to go with Jaden Daniels, preferably one of the rookies.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get either of them.
Well, if you have startups coming up this weekend, I mean, this is kind of a hotbed for startups to get going. Not, dynasty startups. We're not really talking redraft here, though.
You could make an argument for Ben Sinnott and redraft.
You could. He's a lottery ticket.
You're going to get him way late. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. That's it for Ben Sinnott. Let's move on to Erick All.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ty.
So, Erick All, drafted by the Bengals. I like this kid. Really had a quick thing on him in the rookie profile. Didn't give him a lot of time of day. But there is some opportunity here in this offense. When you look at what they've done over the last 3 years with their tight ends, CJ Uzomah, is that how you say that? Uzomah had a season where he was 560 yards, 6 touchdowns. Hayden Hurst was the 18th tight end in PPR. And then last year, if you add up their tight end numbers together, it would account for the 11th best tight end in fantasy football. And that was with Tanner Hudson leading the way.
Yeah. People were like hot on Tanner Hudson for a little bit there in Dynasty formats. Yep, I remember that.
Problem with All is injury.
Sure.
He had spinal surgery in 2022, and then he tore his right ACL this past October. Yeah. So
I don't like the spinal one either.
I don't either.
Yikes.
But drafted on a team that doesn't have a lot of tight end competition there with a viable quarterback that can get you the ball, you're not taking a big stab. Not like it's costing you a lot of draft capital to go and get Erick All. And I'll take that upside. Another problem I do have with this, if I'm being like totally honest about it, is how it seems like there's a revolving door for the Bengals at tight end.
Yep. It's like they treat them like running backs.
Yeah, it reminds you of like in high school, like when you had a one position that would take the play in back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's what it reminds you of. Like they're always constantly swapping tight ends out, but
sure.
Like they're running the play in, but we know there's headsets and they don't do that stuff.
Very similar to how the Colts did things last year.
Yes,
but they just do it like this all the time.
Right.
That's strange.
But again, Tanner Hudson, 39 receptions last year, leading the way on a team that if you add up their tight end numbers would have been the 11th tight end. If Erick All gets in there and can be the starting tight end, I think there's something there.
Okay. That's good stuff, man. I like that. I run from Bengals tight ends as fast as I can, but I get it. You're talking 4th round, 5th round in a rookie redraft league. If you have 5 rounds, a lot of them are 4, but if you have 5, you're talking Erick All is a 4th. You maybe, if you want to take a stab at it, can get him as an undrafted afterward. It's iffy in there. We've had a couple leagues where he's went undrafted. Yep.
But yeah, Erick All, late stash.
Right on. Good call. I like that stuff. Good stuff. Way to dig deep, Ty.
Yep.
Last one, Jared Wiley. All right. So possibly another whiff on my part. I guess my biggest complaint on Wiley was that he seems easier to tackle than what he should be. He gets like top heavy and like falls down on his own a handful of occasions. But I got thinking, maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit here. The more I start watching Wiley and the more I start coming around to him, man, his skill set, where he's landed, I don't see why is it not worthy of taking him where you can get him? Behind a 35-year-old Kelsey, tied to Mahomes, drafted by Andy Reid. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I right to the taxi squad, wait this thing out for what's most likely just going to be like 1 year.
It can't be forever.
No.
Kelsey can't do it forever.
No, and as long as he is what the Chiefs think he is, and Kelsey presumably calls it quits after this year, unless they bring someone else in. I mean, does Noah Gray scare you off of Jared Wiley? Because he doesn't me.
No, but I'll use the Noah Gray thing to say that every year, Noah Gray makes a couple big plays in a big moment.
Yep.
So it's not, they have 2 tight ends on the field more than people think.
Sure.
And I think this kid could get some real opportunities. And I think you're talking Dynasty mostly, definitely, right? Because this is a player that...
Yes, completely.
In 2 or 3 years, let's talk about a ceiling here right now. Travis Kelce retires after this season.
Mm-hmm.
It is not out of line to think in 2 or 3 years this kid could be a top 5 tight end.
You're 100% right. I agree.
You got Pat Mahomes as your quarterback in an Andy Reid tight end friendly system.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're better than Noah Gray. Yeah.
Yeah. He's worth being on your roster in a dynasty league in some capacity for such a
and be patient. If you draft this kid, be patient.
Yeah, it's such an ideal situation.
Like draft him and don't do anything until Travis Kelce retires.
Yep. And crazy size, 6'6", 260 pounds, super sure-handed. Do you know he only had 1 drop and 120 targets throughout his career?
It's crazy.
That's nuts. Shocking straight line speed, I think, the more I watch. I would urge you to watch his game against Baylor if you have not. All of you, anyone listening, anyone sitting here in this room, go watch that game. He set a TCU single game receiving record for tight end. It is quite a watch. You can move Wiley around too, and the Chiefs ask quite a lot out of the tight end position. 32% of his snaps were off the line. That's a guy you can move around. There's too much to ignore.
How much? 32%?
32% off the line. I'm sorry. There is way too much, here. You can't ignore this.
Noah Gray played 52.4% of Kansas City snaps last year.
Give me some Wiley. Yep, I'm in on Wiley. Dynasty speaking.
Yeah. Kid comes from a passing offense, too.
Yep.
He can move around, but, I mean, at TCU, that's a passing offense, and you're saying he lines up on the line 32% of the time, so he can do...
Off the line 32%.
Off the line 32% of the time.
Yep, so you can move him around.
Yep,
you can move him around. All right, yeah, give me some Wiley. Do you have anything else on him, Ty?
No, I like Wiley a lot, though, looking back on some of this tape. Dynasty, this is one of the best stashes you can make.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm really upset with myself. Really upset with myself on a couple guys. I just totally whiffed on.
It's year one. We had a couple whiffs. We're trying to make up for it.
Yeah, no kidding. But again, give me some Wiley.
Yep, for sure.
All right, that's it for tight end, and that's it for all the positions. Ty, do you have any final thoughts at all?
Oh, well, we're getting into crunch time with the drafts and stuff for everybody. Hopefully we're helping you guys out, giving you some information that's helpful, and just wish everybody good luck on all their fantasy drafts. Yeah, if you got startups or anything or rookie drafts coming up, take a stab at some of these guys. Go for it. You got nothing to lose once things get later. Don't go drafting Michael Thomas. Take Jared Wiley. Yeah. You get in those positions where it's like, oh man, I'm just not really sure who to take. That's when you start, when you get to a point and you're not sure who to take, that's when you start throwing darts at people like this. Yeah, for sure. Fair enough. All right, that's it for today. Again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us your support. We greatly appreciate you all. Remember, if you'd like your trades graded, please check out the description for details. Join us next time for a podcast league trade talk episode. That'll be fun. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. And please tell your friends. See you next time, everybody.